Well, I need to be honest about something. We Christians sometimes have emphasized the wrong thing. Here's what I mean by that. It became really trendy in Christian circles a few years ago to start saying we think too much about the then and there. We ought to think more about the here and now. I think it was maybe a good intention to say don't focus everything on heaven. We have work to do here. But as we Christians always do, we swing all the way to the other side. And if you're not careful, you don't hear a lot of talk about heaven anymore. But let me tell you why. If you're not a believer, I want to tell you the important thing here is the life after this one. We Christians do not believe this life is the end all. We don't even believe this life is our best life. And let me tell you why. Even as Christians, we still struggle with sin. You know us, you see it. We try to do better. We repent, we work at it. But you know what? Sometimes we Christians have rocky marriages. Does Jesus help them? Yes, he does. Does he help them get better? Yes, he does. But sometimes it's still tough. We Christians sometimes battle our addictions. Sometimes we're greedy. Sometimes we get bogged down in our own pride and, we're just not perfect. We're trying to do better. But it's still a struggle in this world. Here's another thing that happens to Christians. Sometimes bad things happen to God's people. Now, you're going to say, why would God do that? Well, I don't think God ever does bad things. But I do think God allows things, and I'm not God, so I can't answer. But I do know sometimes that Christians get sick. We get cancer. We have heart attacks. We get COVID. We have car wrecks. Sometimes people run stop signs and hit us, and sometimes the consequences are devastating. It's a hard world. And that's why it's really important to remind ourselves, and especially tell you non-believers, this world is not where it's at. Does Jesus make this world better? Yes, he does. He gives us life abundantly. He allows us to face things, but Jesus never promised we wouldn't get sick, we wouldn't be tempted, we wouldn't struggle, everybody like it. That's not the promise to the Christian in this world. The promise to the Christian in this world is be faithful, I'll see you through. You're going to be persecuted by this world, but I have overcome the world. You're going to be a stranger here, but your real home is waiting. So let me tell you, if you're not a Christian, here's what we long for. We do believe the day is coming when Jesus will come back to take us home. And when he does, God will wipe away every tear. And there'll be no more sorrow and no more pain. There'll be no more tears. We do believe that day is coming. We believe the day is coming when we will see our God face to face. You see, that's why we follow Jesus, because frankly, I don't know how anybody gets through this life without him. But we hang on to a hope that changes everything. So yes, sometimes we get sick and die, and we have the hope of heaven. Yes, sometimes it seems premature and horrible, and we have the hope that we'll be reunited with our loved ones that love Jesus. And yes, we struggle with sin, and someday we'll go to a place there is no temptation. We long for that day. So yes, we have work to do here as Christians. And yes, we're happy people because we've learned the secret of being content. It's Jesus. But never mistake, the great thing about Jesus is the promise of a much better life than this one to come. This is Steve Ridgell, being thankful to Jesus for making a way home to God for a guy like me. He can do that for you too.